everybody, it's Angelo with Angelo's Workbench, here with another kit review. This time we're going to look at Revell's new ZZ Top Eliminator. And when I say new, I mean relatively new. It's a re-release, of course, of the original ZZ Top Eliminator that they had back in the 80s. This was the subject car of many ZZ Top music videos. It's of course based on an old Ford, and it's beautiful. And I'm also going to, at the same time, we're going to take a look at the original kit, which I happen to have in stock in my stash. We'll take a little comparison between the two, see what has changed, what's better, if anything is worse. There isn't really anything worse. I'll give you the spoiler alert. They really made some nice improvements. I have seen a couple of guys online talk about fit issues because the roof attaches to the body as two separate pieces. And some guys have said online that the new kit has issues. I've got both the bodies out. I've lined both of them up. They are identical in every way. I can't find any difference. So I don't know what anybody's talking about with the new one. I haven't experienced that problem. So we'll take a look. We'll go through, talk about the differences. Now let's open this up. I've already cut all the plastic bags out of here. And we'll put the instructions aside for now. So we'll start with the tires, which are big and littles. You've got some bigger ones for the back, some smaller ones for the front. They are the same exact as what was included in the original kit, with the exception of, on the original kit, they had Goodyear markings on the sidewall of the tires. It said Goodyear GT radials on the original. This is the same tire from what I can see. It looks identical, just doesn't have the Goodyear on it. So that is the only difference there. We'll take a quick look at the glass. You've got a windshield, a back window, and two headlights, just as you did back in the 80s. It is the same sprue, and it even has the same numbers molded into it, the same part numbers. Some of the other sprues have different part numbers. But this is the glass you get with the kit. Two headlights, windshield, and a back window. I'm going to keep these parts straight. Let's take a look at the chrome sprue. I noticed a couple interesting things on the chrome sprue. There is different numbers on the chrome sprue. Just a little bit. This one is 0619, this is 0609. So this is the original one in this hand, and this is the new one in this hand. There's really not any difference that I can notice, except on the original valve covers, and this will be a difference when you go to build it. On the original one's valve covers, the ZZ Top name was engraved. So if you wanted to put a wash in there to change the color, it would just go in, the wash would just fill in the holes, and it was very easy. You could just dab it with your brush. Capillary action would pull the wash into, and you would have your ZZ Top and your Z's nice in a different color. And I have built this kit before. As a kid, I built this kit. And then also chrome-plated is the exhaust. It's full show car treatment. Headers, the wheels are very nice with center cap spinners. Very nice. Now, this is the original one. The new one, the chrome is a little bit better, a little bit brighter, but the letters on the valve covers are raised up instead of recessed. Same thing with the air cleaner. The ZZ is raised up. It is not recessed. So if you do want to do those as a different color, you will have to do a dry brush technique as opposed to a wash. But you'll see everything else is the same. The wheels are beautiful. The chrome is a little better. Some of it may but just be age. You know, this kit's 30-something years old. The chrome still looks good, but it's not quite as bright. And again, I think that's just aging. So that's the chrome. Well, let's get to the body next. So just like the original, the new one has a two-piece body. Molded in red, of course. So if you're painting it something other than red, get ready with the primer. I have read online several times that there is a trick that if you want to try and kill a color that it is molded in so that it won't come through into your primer and into your paint, because it's really hard to get rid of that if it's not molded in white. They recommended painting it silver. I've never tried this because silver will kill it successfully. So if you were to just spray this with a silver paint and then go through your primer and paint processes, then you would not have any issues with the red coming through. Just a tip I'm throwing out there. Now, I've never tried that. I'll have to experiment with it and let you know if I do this in a different color. When I do build this car, I am, of course, going to build it red. But if you look here, I don't know if you guys can see, the fit is identical between the new one and the original one. The fit is identical. And it is a two-part body, just like the original one was. The one difference that I did notice is there is just an ever so slight little bit of flash here that did not exist on the original one, or if it existed on the original one, it had already been removed. I obviously bought the kit used. So there's the body. Then we'll get to the rest of these sprues are identical. There's no differences. So I'll stop comparing to the old kit. That's the end of the differences. So we have our engine, we have our interior pan, we have the fenders of the car, which are beautiful. I love these cars. And then we have the chassis, the hood, trunk, some other various panels, the seat, which has some nice engraving on it. I did want to look and see if the original seat had that same engraving. I believe it did. And it did. The seat had the same engraving. And this one has a sticker that says Revell Incorporated, West Chicago, Illinois. And then here is the running boards, door panels, the rest of the engine parts. A very simple kit, not very much in the way of parts. The one part seems to have worked its way loose. Looks like a radiator worked its way loose in shipping. For a kit as old as this is, the parts look pretty good. The parts are pretty good. You got your engraving there on your speedo, and the other gauges on the dash. So looks like a good kit for like if you wanted to do like a quick hot rod build on like a weekend or something, because there's not a lot of parts, and it goes together pretty easily. And there's a lot of really cool looking show car type stuff like the chrome front end, the chrome headers, the chrome exhaust. It's going to look pretty neat. So, and I'm going to build it the ZZ Top way with the ZZ Top decals and of course red. This is kind of neat to notice. Check out the difference in the decals. So, Revell's been stepping up their decals, as I've said in many videos, and the decals are looking really great. And they made some changes. Here's the original decal from 1980, whatever. And you'll see you got two decals. You got the side, well, three. You got the side decals and you got the license plate. And that's it. And I don't know if you can see the reflection here, but the carrier film on this decal is huge. This entire, I'm going to get a toothpick here. This entire area here is all decal, which means welcome to the land of silvering. When you put this decal down, your paint would have to be super smooth, or else you would be able to see that the decal overlapped and went so far beyond where the decal is. And this is all one piece. One piece decals this long going onto a body with a lot of bends and shapes, it could be a problem. So the new decal, they have made substantial improvements. It is now two pieces, and if you can see, there is no huge carrier film. There is just the decal. It just goes up to where the decal is, and then that's it. There's no amount of extra material that has to go on. And then the big thing, as I said, the two pieces. Having it in two pieces is going to make it a lot easier. And then you have your license plate just as before, but then they've also included decals for the seats. And these go on the door panels. So before it was just molded in. Now it's molded in, but they also give you some nice seat decals to increase the realism of the interior. Even on their ZZ Top Eliminator kit, Revell's stepping it up with the decals. They're really going big time with their decals. This is a substantial improvement over this, I have to say. So that's another difference, which is really cool to notice. And we also have the instructions. Of course, their instructions are follow an entirely new format from back in these days. It is kind of cool to look at this, though. Wow, look at that. I don't know how that happened with this kit, but I purchased this kit for my stash about 5 or 6 years ago online. They had been getting really hard to find. Prices were starting to creep up. And now with Revell re-releasing it, this is great. This kit will be available again readily everywhere online, and with the improved decals. The same thing I noticed with another model that I had built when I was a kid that didn't come with much decals. When they re-released it, it came with a whole bunch of different decals, and they had made other improvements in the kit. That was a model made by another company. So, so here you can see the instructions are kind of the same, but kind of different. First off, they only called out for 6 colors. And you can remember way back when they had 33 flat black. I think it was, I think it linked up to the Testors little enamel paint bottles. 33 flat black, 11 silver fox. A little blast from the past there. But anyway, so 6 colors they have there. But on the new one, we have many, many more colors. Well, not many, many, but, you know, 2 additional colors. There are 8 instead of 6. The big difference being the transparent red that I see. And they have 2 different types of reds, gloss and flat. And originally they just had red, and that was it. But then you still have your flat black, your flat white. Steel has been added, whereas before it was just silver fox. So they've made some changes in the colors. And then here is the part listing, which is small compared to most of their kits. You get about half the parts here. Now you'll notice the engine drawings are similar, but it does look like they maybe copy and pasted a little bit with some modifications here and there. But the steps are, for the most part, if you go through and you look at the instructions, they are for the most part the same, in the same order. Kind of cool to see the old school versus the new school. I was excited when they brought this out, and one of the first things I thought was, oh, I've got to do a side-by-side comparison of the old versus the new. I'm curious. And lots of improvements. Lots of improvements, and a great-looking kit. So they have you start out with the engine, of course, which goes together really nice with the ZZ Top valve covers and the air cleaner. And then it's, you know, right onto the chassis. The rear end is kind of simplified. It's just a straight axle there with a drive shaft already attached. The wheels with the spinner center caps are really cool looking. And then you get into some chrome parts. You know, you got the chrome drag links here that looks like they hook right onto the rear end. You've got a chrome front end. So while the chassis will be somewhat simplified, it's going to be very shiny, very chrome. I don't know how much of it I'm going to leave chrome and how much of it I'm going to not chrome. I am going to build it as a show car, not as a street runner. So I may leave the chrome. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it all fits together. I'm sure it'll fit together very nicely. And then we get going to the interior and then onto the body. Keeping track of all the things that have to be body color. You're going to have the 2 pieces of the body. You're going to have the fenders. You're going to have the trunk. You're going to have the hood. Then it goes on to finishing the interior. And it does look like you need to paint it as a 2-piece, because you do a lot of building of it with the roof off, dropping the interior in. This all gets assembled, and then how you do the interior is in through the top. You might be able to get away with it if you wanted to assemble these and then paint them. You might be able to get away with it. I would have to do some further research on the kit. But I probably will just follow the steps in order. And I'll get it so that with the paint and the clear coat and the polishing, I'll get it so that there's no seam. Or at the very least, it'll be very hard to see the seam. And then we have some final details. You know, put the grille, put the headlights on, tail lights, side view mirrors, and then it's time to decal. I like how they have that as a 2-piece. It's gonna be a little easier to do that way. So that's the ZZ Top Eliminator. This is going to be coming up on my channel very soon. I'm looking forward to building it. I've been wanting to build this one. I've almost started it a couple of times, but I was afraid that I would never get it again. You ever do that when you get a kit in your stash and you're like, oh, I finally found one that's so cool, so now I've got it in my stash. Now if I want to build it, I got to find another one, because I don't want to not have one in the stash. it's a strange thing. I think all model builders go through it with our model stashes. But, so that's the ZZ Top Eliminator kit. Here you can see they chose to go aluminum and a little less chrome when they built it. But I mean, even look at that. For a simple, 60-part kit or whatever, how many parts this has, it's not that many. It says 70 parts. For a simple 70-part kit, that really looks great and has plenty of detail. If you wanted to add some, you could. If you wanted to add some brake lines, you could totally add some brake lines. Add some fuel lines if you wanted to. Dress it up a little bit. And maybe I will. Who knows? We'll see what I feel like when I build it. If you want to take a simple kit and turn it into something a little bit more, you certainly have the room for it. There's plenty of room there. And I'm a big fan of ZZ Top too, so this is going to be fun. So watch for it on my channel coming up soon. Thank you for checking in with me and checking out my kit review. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the channel. Hey, if you're not a subscriber already, go ahead and click that subscribe button in the upper left-hand corner. Also showing on the right and beneath that are playlists and videos from other places on my channel. I have over 100 videos now on the channel. Plenty here for you to check out. Thank you very much for tuning in to Angelo's Workbench.